Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Aquarius series. We are going through 30 degrees of Aquarius, each degree. That's right. Number 1 through 4 is already done. I will link them below if you haven't seen them. Go watch them. They're usually about 10 minutes on average. Okay, average 10-minute video. Everybody has Aquarius energy somewhere in their chart. Doesn't matter what your birthday is. We all have Aquarius summer. We all have all the signs. We are all the signs. We are all. Yep. So we're going through each degree because then when you find your chart and then you go and you find the degree and the sign of what I'm talking about, of what that video is about, it gives you a little bit of insight. It gives you some depth, some meaning to you, to who you are, and to understanding more things about your life and to what you're going through or the possibilities or what you've been through. Okay. So we are picking up with 5 degrees of Aquarius. I have been guided strongly to begin this astrological mandala with the Aquarius energies. Yeah. So 1 through 4 is already done. And here we are picking up with Dane Rudhyar's it is his reinterpretation of the Sabian symbols. All right. So you can Google that. You can look online. And then that way you can read what I'm reading. And then I try to put a little bit of my G sense to it, try to make sense out of what I'm reading, right? Because some of it's, very abstract. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Anyway, so we're on number 5, Aquarius, number 5. The Council of Ancestors is seen implementing the efforts of a young leader. This is 5 degrees of Aquarius. I'm going to read that one more time. A council of ancestors is seen implementing the efforts of a young leader. Interesting. The keynote, the root foundation of past performances, which power and sustain whatever decision is made in a crisis by an individual. The root foundation of past performances, which power and sustain whatever decision is made in a crisis by an individual. And then he gives us a nice little paragraph afterward, and it says, I think we got Taffy at the door. Oh, we got both cats out. Zoe was in here. Can you guys see her? There's Zoe. And Taffy's on the outside of the door. Yeah, they play cat games through the door. Anyway, now they're doing the paws through the door at each other. The whole past of mankind stands behind any individual effort, especially in times of critical decisions. The endeavor of the priests who built the California missions had behind it the whole past of Catholic proselytizing. I think I got that right. My words have been insane. Like words have been really hard, as Dennis would say. Boondocking with Dennis, in case y'all don't know who I'm talking about. He always says that words are hard. I think I got that right. The attempt to bring the good news, that's in quotes, to all people of the earth, every individual is far more dependent upon the strength of his ancestors. I'm going to read that over, okay? The whole past of mankind stands behind any individual effort, especially in times of critical decisions. The endeavor of the priests who built the California missions had behind it the whole past of Catholic proselytizing, the attempt to bring the good news to all people of the earth. Every individual is far more dependent upon the strength of his ancestors' achievements or oppressed by their failures and lack of vision than he usually believes. This can mean a hidden foundation of individual strength or the inertia of a tradition unable to transcend its limited origins. This suggests that in many situations, reliance upon precedents will enable the aspirant to greatness to tap the power of his deepest roots. Wow. Okay. So let's try to understand this one together. So a council of ancestors is seen implementing the efforts of a young leader. Okay, so we're talking about a leader. The council of ancestors is seen implementing the efforts of a young leader. So it's like a carry through. They're following through on the efforts of a young leader. They make a reference to the good news and the Catholics and the proselytizing the good news, which would be the word of Christ, right? Yeah. I grew up Catholic, so I know all about the good news. Studied the Bible, yes. 12 years of Catholic school, by the way, if that matters to anybody. So they're talking about the past, and every individual is far more dependent upon the strength of his ancestors' achievements or failures. It can go either way more than they usually believe. So we're talking kind of, I don't know if it's tradition that we're talking about, but it says that we can be dependent upon the strength of his ancestors on their achievements or oppressed by their failures and the lack of vision than he usually believes. This can mean a hidden foundation of individual strength or the inertia of a traditional unable to transcend its limited origins. Okay. So the word tradition does come into play here, which is interesting, right? Because Saturn was known as the traditional ruler of the sign of Aquarius, right? Vedic astrology honors Saturn only as the ruler of the sign of Aquarius, right? So when we think of traditions, I've always thought the word tradition matched up with Saturn energy, because I know tradition speaks to of the past, but it's more in a physical, tangible way when it's, hold on, sorry. Let's get some lights here. Hold on a second. I should have done that before I began. So yeah, it seems as though we're either going to break the boundaries and the barriers of what once was, of the way that we used to do things, or we will basically fall back on those. Meaning not fall as in literally fall, but we will what's the word I'm looking for? We will just become dependent upon those, which is kind of what they say here, right? Reliance upon precedent. We hear that all the time when they talk about law, especially with the Supreme Court, right? Reliance upon precedents. So I will reread that last part again. It suggests that in many situations, reliance upon precedents will enable the aspirant to greatness to tap the power of his deepest roots. Will enable the aspirant to greatness to tap the power of his deepest roots. Well, this is almost like there's a lot of meaning to this. It does reference a bit of the past. It does reference a bit of structures from the past. People in charge are referenced in this. A young leader is referenced, so there's like fresh blood in the game here, which is interesting. 5 degrees of Aquarius. Do yourself a favor if you want this to look really interesting for you, or maybe not. Yeah, in your own chart, find out where the 5 degrees is. But for anybody who lives in the States, and even if you don't live in the States, if you want me to show you the United States chart in reference to what I'm reading about right now, in reference to this 5 degree mark, let me know, because it's an interesting mark in the US's chart. The United States has one of their nodes at this point. Well, it's at 6 degrees. It's like, yeah, I think it's around 6 degrees. So it's not exactly 5 degrees, right? So I'll read number 6 in the next video so we can see what that one's about. But yeah, this is really interesting. Good news to all the people on earth, the endeavor of the priests who built the California missions, trying to preach, right? And every individual is far more dependent upon the strength of his ancestors, their achievements, or they are oppressed by their failures and their lack of vision than they usually believe they are. So it's Aquarius energy. It screams new. It explains how the root foundation of past performances, which power and sustain whatever decision is made in a crisis by an individual. So it means going back to the tried and tested ways. That's kind of how I see this one. I am really, really open to hearing what your thoughts are on this. because we're all entering this age of Aquarius. We are all entering Pluto going into Aquarius for the first time ever in our lives. It'll never happen again as long as you're breathing in this lifetime. So I think the more minds that we can get together, the collective Aquarius energy, the better. So please leave your comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.